Hey guys, I hope everyone's doing good. So, this illustration was very unplanned. I just started experimenting with some brushes and I really liked how the texture was coming out. So, for this brush, I did not have this color gradients as you can see in each stroke. So, I had turned on my color dynamics and played with the hues and brightness of that brush, for which if any color you select, you get such kind of different colors of hues and brightnesses, if you can see. So I really like how the building came out, so I thought, you know what, I'll just make a nice cool and little warm city scene. So I'm going with the little dark blues. The background I started with dark so that I could see how my clouds are coming out. And obviously I wanted to keep the clouds very warm and oranges, so it complements the blue buildings also. So right now, at this stage I was still very unsure of how I wanted my sky to be. For this one I did not use any color reference or any photograph reference that I have clicked over the years. So I just went with no thought in mind and just see how the flow is going and everything. As you can see, I'm doing a lot of oranges because I'm still in the experimental phase of the illustration. For me to bring out the blue of the building more, I'm trying to give the clouds a little lighter color, adding little pinks and reds so that it just comes up and pops out really nicely. Because blue is such a dark color, right? It always goes well with a little bit of blues. If you know, in the color wheel, it always has, for a color to come out really well, you should always use the complementary colors of it. Basically, in a color wheel, you should use the color which is on the opposite side of the wheel, right? As you can see in this color wheel. So I think the oranges look really good because now the building is also coming out really well. And in the top also I'm gonna add little more clouds, and obviously on the sides I'm gonna give a little nature foliage also because it just looks really well with it as well. So this is what I'm planning for this, and I think colors are play a very important role in any kind of work that you're doing, because colors create a mood. They talk about the emotion you want the viewer to feel and go through the journey of what the art is saying, because creating an artwork or expressing an emotion through it, using the right colors, the right amount of saturation or the curve, specifically if you're creating something in Photoshop, right? Because you have to make use of your tools really well, right? I'm not saying it's compulsory that you should be using such tools like hues and saturation. If you've been following my work, you would see I use a lot of saturation and hues and colors of adjustment layers in the end of my painting, because I feel that just creates another sense of aura and a feeling to the painting, which I personally really like, right? So never hold yourself back to even at the end stage of a painting to change the colors for it, because you never know what you end up creating. So you should never really restrict yourself when you're using colors. Go crazy. I think the more color, the more amazing it looks, but obviously you should know what to use, when to use. Like as you can see, I'm starting with blues, little in the purples, then a tint of pinks, now going little towards orange and yellows, but it all just complement so well that this obviously comes, you'll get to this stage in your life with a lot of trial and error. This it takes a lot of time to understand what works and what doesn't, because there are many times that some artworks are just not going to work, because you also have to keep in mind what you want to share, right? What you want to create a mood of, what you want the viewer to feel and address when they're looking at your painting, right? And it's just not about them, but it's also about you. Like, what are you feeling? What do you want to say by your painting? Because we're not always creating for ourselves, right? Sometimes you also create for other people, because as an artist, I love creating artworks not only for myself but also for all my viewers, because they understand what I am going through, and that's how our community is built, right? Now coming back to the painting, I just feel like adding a little more clouds to it because it just create a very nice little evening scene I want to create with a beautiful sunset. How we look over the skyline, and it's just the silhouette of the entire building just turn out so beautiful. So I was really inspired by the sunsets and everything. And I think I'm gonna title this painting also related to something about summary. So I switched to my brush over here. I'm using a different kind of brush, as you can see. It's downward stroke and that upward stroke is coming with it. So also I use a different kind of brushes and everything. If you want to know about my brushes and everything, I can share my pack. You can let me know if you want it. So gonna add a lot of colors here. I was really very again unsure about how it was turning out, so I just went with the process, went with the flow of it. Didn't want to hinder my thought process or get restricted like, oh my god, it's not turning out good, because with that thought, your paintings will never turn out good, because you have to let yourself free, right? And it should be a liberating process and not a stressful one. I think you should enjoy also what you're doing, because if you don't enjoy what you're doing, you can't expect someone else to connect with your work or enjoy it either. And I really rarely do cityscapes and everything. I'm more towards nature and trees and foliages and everything, but this is something I wanted to try out, because while experimenting with a brush. So it's really fun experimenting with the new brush, because you never know what inspires you. And of course, how can I not add stars into this? So I'm adding a lot more of stars. I'm also, I think, gonna give a nice shooting star also in the end of it, adding a little purple so that I can show a little grunge. And always play with your blending modes of your layers also. Like in this one, I have made it an exclusion, and that just adds a lot different element, and layering your artworks and every piece of it just creates a very beautiful mood. As you can see, curves play a really important role for me, because they just bring out, look how beautifully that looked, right? It just pops the entire work completely. And adding my very nice shooting star, because I love stars and astrology, and I have done a lot of work, if you've seen previous work, where I have added sun signs also. They're like little Easter eggs in my paintings. Like, for example, one of my painting title aligned has Aquarius sign on the sky, right? Like I said, I want to name it little summerish, so Midsummer Madness. It's also one of a really good song. If you guys have not heard, check it out. It's really fun. So yeah, also gradients also do play a really important role. It just blends the entire painting colors as one. As you can see, it looks really uniformed. It creates a very nice layer and brings out the colors even better. Just adding little purple fogs on the side, so it looks like it's a little evening and far away scene to add a lot of texture. Adding side little bit of trees to create a little nice composition and a framework, so it looks like it's a little distant and everything. Again, experimenting with different kind of brushes are very important as an artist, because you do not want to restrict yourself. That's the beauty of using a digital medium, because you get to experiment with different kind of brushes, colors and everything. So even in the future while creating, don't restrict yourself, experiment, download new brushes and everything, and go crazy. I hope you guys like this and learn something, and do take care of your health and stay fit, you guys. Bye.